Look at this, Bill.
See?
Oh, look at my belly.
Oh, yes. There she goes.
She's going nuts in there. Ooh, ouch. This is the most active she's been in several days. It's like she knows something's up. She says, "Let me out." And welcome to my update for week 38 of my pregnancy. So as you can see, I am in my living room today rather than in my usual filming location in our rec room upstairs, and that is because I am actually getting this done during the day during Alex's nap. And I actually got 8 hours of sleep last night, like solid hours of sleep, so I'm awake enough to actually get stuff done during his nap today, so woohoo for that. I don't know how many more of these updates there are going to be, because I am getting the feeling that baby girl is going to be coming sooner rather than later. And it's just a feeling that I have combined with some signs and symptoms that I've been having. I think that baby girl has dropped. The reason I say that is because I have been feeling so much pressure on my cervix. Oh my gosh. It's like uncomfortable sometimes. And just looking at my belly, I think it looks a little lower. I don't know, you guys can tell me at the end, looking at my belly, if you think it looks lower or not. But I think that she is definitely dropping, descending into my pelvis and getting ready. Up until yesterday, I've just been having some other signs like TMI alert, but I have been going number 2 like 3 or 4 times a day. And I know that's a sign that your body is like clearing things out and getting ready. This has been happening now for, I'd say, like 3 or 4 days now. And I know that can happen up to like a week or more beforehand. So I know it's not, you know, an imminent sign, but I think that it is my body kind of getting ready. I have also really been getting a lot more nesting urges than I have been before, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the biggest thing was last night, I actually think I was experiencing some pre-labor, or what they call prodromal labor. I'd say, you know, later in the day and into the evening, I started getting contractions that were actually pretty painful. Like, I have been getting like a crampy kind of feeling with my Braxton Hicks for the last week or 2 as it is. But these were starting to actually get like more uncomfortable, more painful, like, and the contractions were tight enough and long enough that I was actually having to like stop what I was doing and breathe through them. And that's definitely more than I have been experiencing with the Braxton Hicks in the last couple weeks. I actually downloaded a contraction timer on my phone and started timing them, and they were coming pretty regularly too. They were coming, I mean, it wasn't like an exact set amount of time, but they were all, you know, about 5, 6, 7 minutes apart. And there was 1 or 2 where it was like 10 minutes or like, you know, 8 minutes or something, but most of them were like 5, 6, 7 minutes apart. And the contractions were lasting anywhere from like 40 seconds to a minute. And so I was beginning to wonder, like, is this the beginning of something? But they still weren't, you know, consistent enough and regular enough, like, you know, getting down to like 4 or 5 minutes apart, where I felt like I needed to call the midwife. It wasn't that consistent, but it was getting quite uncomfortable. And that cervix pressure that I was mentioning, like each time I was having a contraction, I mean, it was almost like I could feel my cervix dilating. We'll see for sure tomorrow. I'm having another midwife appointment tomorrow. They'll let me know where I'm at that point. You know, I was telling Bill, it was like, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and normally we're late people. We go to bed really late, but I was like, I think we need to go to bed now, just in case, you know, if this really is like the beginning of labor, I really need to have a good night's sleep, because that was something I did not have going into my last labor, and I just know how important that is. So we did. So we went upstairs, and I figured taking a shower would kind of be an indicator to whether it was like the real thing or not. When I was in the shower with the warm water, it did kind of slow the contractions a little. But anyway, I decided, like, well, if I'm going to be going to labor soon, I'm going to shave my legs one last time. And so I did that. And then when I got out of the shower, they were kind of picking up a little bit again. But I continued getting ready for bed and finally got settled into bed. We got to sleep. I did get up to pee a couple times in the night, but like I was able to fall back asleep each time. And Alex slept in this morning. He slept in until 9 o'clock this morning. So I got like 8 or more hours of sleep last night. It was amazing. So I felt really good. And when I woke up this morning, like the contractions had basically stopped. I mean, I was still having like the Braxton Hicks like I was having before, and I've been continuing to have just the normal Braxton Hicks throughout the day today, but it's not the same painful contractions like they were last night. So definitely not actually in labor, but I think I was experiencing some pre-labor. And I know that that can actually happen for days or up to a week or two before you actually give birth. So who knows? We'll see what happens, but it really does feel like baby girl's dropping. I'm getting these signs and symptoms and some pre-labor. It could be soon. We'll see. So coming back to the topic of nesting, this last weekend, we actually had Alex stay with my parents on Saturday night, and that was so nice because we really just wanted to get like a really solid night's sleep, especially because he's been having sleep troubles, which I mentioned last week. So we really just wanted to get one solid night's sleep and just have Saturday and Sunday without a toddler around to get some more nesting done. And so that was so nice. It was so nice to have that time, and it was really productive. Bill actually spent a lot of the time working on his work because he's trying to get a certain project done before I go into labor and, you know, get things all delegated out before he leaves on paternity leave. He's taking 2 weeks off. So he got a good chunk of that done. It was really nice for him to have that uninterrupted time. And I used the time to nest, and boy did I ever nest. I worked on all of my thank you notes, which I got a lot of them. I didn't quite finish them. I actually finished them yesterday. I started cleaning the bathrooms, organizing all the baby clothes. I prepared a bed in a room for my mother-in-law because she's going to be staying here with Alex when I go into labor, so that's all ready for her now. I basically got our bags entirely packed now. They're pretty much ready to go. So it was really nice to just have those days to really focus on nesting and get some of that stuff done. And just cleaning the house too. Like I did a lot of laundry and dishes and that kind of thing too. So that felt really good. It was just, you know, like I mentioned last week, I really just am the kind of person where I need a solid chunk of uninterrupted time to get things done, and that's how I get productive. And it's so hard with a toddler when there are constant interruptions. So that was some good progress in my nesting. But aside from that, you know, when Alex has been here, it's like the tortoise and the hare. I feel like the tortoise, you know, it's like slow and steady. I am definitely not making progress really quickly like I did this last weekend. That was an exception. But it's, you know, it is slowly, gradually all getting done. We've got the swing and the little bouncy seat set up in the living room now. These are just little things, you know, little things that I try to do each day. We've got the co-sleeper set up in our room now. All the receiving blankets are put in there. I have all the newborn clothes pulled out now. Our changing station, I actually did a video just on that. If you haven't seen that, I'll have that link below. But yeah, so most of our cloth diapers are just about ready to go. And actually yesterday, my mother-in-law was here hanging out with Alex, so I was able to get some more stuff done. I finished writing my thank you notes. I basically went through all of my baby shower gifts and sorted through it, and you know, made a pile of stuff that I wanted to show you guys, which I actually made a vlog on. I'll link that down below if you haven't seen my baby shower haul. Check that out below. So yeah, and that stuff is now like all processed. I just have to do like a load of laundry of the new clothes that I got and organize those into the different bags I have for the different size baby clothes. So it's just like a ton of these like little things like that that have just needed to get done, and I am slowly but surely getting there. But speaking of Alex, staying at my parents' house, I know I mentioned last week that he's really been having disturbed sleep the last couple weeks, and we've been trying to figure out, like, is it he like just has this intuition that he knows there's going to be a big change with baby coming? Is it just a developmental thing or what? It was starting to get, Alex is actually waking up, so I gotta speed it up here. Anyway, I made a Facebook post about it to my friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need help. Like, I am at a loss what to do, because like even after I filmed last week's vlog, it was getting even worse. Like, there were a couple nights when Alex was waking up like 6, 7, 8 times at night. It was getting really bad. And you know, me being 38 weeks pregnant, like, this was not gonna fly anymore. And you know, I really was thinking, like, this is probably him just having some emotional needs with the upcoming change. But then when I talked to some of my friends online, they said, well, it could be a developmental stage too. I guess I have some friends who have kids the same age as Alex, and they had said their pediatricians told them that it's normal at around age 2 for kids to have sleep regression, even if they had been really good sleepers before. So I was like, well, I suppose that could be a really relevant factor as well. And so really got to thinking, like, if it is just a developmental thing, like, I'm okay with doing a little bit of crying it out with him. And it was just getting to the point where it was just out of hand, like waking 7, 8 times at night. Like, Bill and I we just can't do that anymore. And we were all waking up absolutely exhausted in the morning. Alex too, and he was grumpy, we were grumpy, something had to be done. And so Bill put his foot down. He said, we're gonna try a little crying it out tonight. And I was like, okay, I think you're right. I think we do need to try it. So that's what we did. That one night, it was like Thursday or Friday night or whatever, I put Alex down to sleep, and then within 15 minutes he was screaming, and Bill was like, don't go up there, let's just give him his 10 minutes, like, because that's 10 minutes is my rule for crying it out. Like, I'm not the kind of person where I can just let my child cry all night long if they really need something, you know what I mean? So 10 minutes is my max for letting them cry. So, oh my gosh, and it was just torture for me. Like, it really feels like you are getting stabbed in the heart as you are sitting there listening to your kid scream and throw a fit, you know, over the baby monitor. And I looked at the clock, and right at about 10 minutes I was like, okay, Bill, why don't you at least go up there, give him a hug, you know, make sure he has his binky, offer him some water, and then leave the room again, and not pick him up. And so that's what Bill did. And that made Alex even madder, just that we went in and didn't pick him up. But after that, we decided we'd give him 10 more minutes. And then at that point, he actually started slowing down. He was so tired. We knew he was exhausted. So, you know, he would kind of like get quiet for a couple minutes, and then he would start screaming again, and then he would get quiet again. And, you know, after about 10 minutes, he was still crying a bit, and I started to go upstairs to do, you know, I was going to do the same thing, give him a hug and some water. And right as I got to the top of the stairs, it got completely quiet, and he finally gave up and fell asleep. Oh my gosh, it was so hard for me as a mom to listen to him cry like that. But it was only for a maximum 10 minutes, and he did. He fell asleep, and then he didn't wake up for a couple hours, and he did. Right before we were, you know, as we were getting ready for bed, he did wake up again. And we did the same thing. We let him cry for 10 minutes, and that time he didn't even last 10 minutes. He actually just put himself back to sleep. And we went to bed, and then at about 3 in the morning he woke up and fussed for maybe like 2 minutes and then went back to sleep. So we're like, oh my god, it's working. Thank the Lord God Almighty. Yeah, so after that one night, he actually had a pretty decent night the next night. I was like, well, I guess this is what we needed to do all along, because like when he woke up in the morning, he was cheerful, he was rested, we were cheerful and rested. It was just a much better situation all along. So even though I was like emotionally having such a hard time with like doing a little bit of crying it out, it was really effective and actually pretty painless. He doesn't seem scarred by it at all. Like, he was so happy the next morning. So we're really thankful that worked. But then when he went to stay with my parents, he was up all night with them. I felt so bad for my parents. They were really good sports about it. But yeah, he went back to like totally resisting sleep, and like, I mean, in the past he's had no trouble sleeping at their house. It's like his second home, but not this time. So we're like, oh boy, here we go again. We brought him home from my parents' house that night, but then he slept a solid 12 hours. Like, he fussed a little at like midnight, but mostly he slept straight for 12 hours. He was so tired when he got back from my parents. And then again, last night, he had a really good night's sleep. And he's been taking like 3-hour naps. Anyway, so I'm hoping that the whole sleep problem that we were going through has resolved itself. I really am hoping. Because the last couple nights have actually been really good. Hopefully that little phase is passing and that we will all be able to get enough sleep before this baby comes. Anyway, so aside from all that, just talking about a couple other symptoms I've been having, I really have been getting extreme swelling. It's really gotten bad this last week. My hands have been getting really swollen. I have this one ring. This is another really cheapy ring. I told you my grandma's ring stopped fitting a couple weeks ago. But this is like my biggest ring that I have. And it's even that one is kind of tight on my hands right now because they are so swollen. And my poor feet, I mean, it is just like walking on water balloons right now. Like, it is so bad. And I am getting the pitted edema or swelling all the way up my shins, up to my knees. Yeah, it's quite a sight to behold. I know this is like such a granny thing to do, but I got compression socks. And Bill's like, why don't you try them? It might just give you some relief. And so I was like, that's such a granny thing to do, but I did. I ordered 2 pairs, and the days that I wear them, the swelling is less, and it really has been helping. So, and I talked to the midwife about it. She said, yeah, that's totally fine if you want to wear compression socks. So I've been doing that now and then, like on days when I know that I'm going to be standing a lot, I put them on. And that has been helping. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I think for the most part, like, this crazy swelling is just going to be something that I am dealing with from here on out. So yeah, fun times. Oh, so the other thing that I forgot to mention last week that I decided that I wanted to do was do placenta encapsulation this time. When I was pregnant with Alex, I had considered doing placenta encapsulation, but still at that time I was like mentally at a place where I was like, I don't know if I can bring myself to eat an organ that came out of my own body. You know what I mean? Even if it's, you know, in a dried encapsulated form, at that point, I just couldn't get myself, I couldn't mentally wrap my head around that at that point. But since then, that was 2 years ago, I've done a lot of reading on it, and I've actually had a number of friends who've done it, and they've all had really positive experiences with it. The other day, I actually texted a couple of my friends who had done placenta encapsulation and asked how their experience was with it, and they all had really good things to say, that they had easy recoveries, more energy. One of my friends who is actually on her 3rd baby now, she just had her 3rd, you know, she's done it both ways, with and without, and she said that since she did the placenta encapsulation this time, she has had so much more energy postpartum, no postpartum depression. So, you know, who knows for sure, but I think it is, I could definitely see, like, scientifically how it could help with your energy, just because you lose so much blood and can be kind of anemic when you're postpartum. and it really, you know, it's full of these nutrients and hormones and iron and that kind of thing that your body really needs to help heal. So I decided that this time I think I want to do it. And so I contacted this company in the local area that does placenta encapsulation, and I sent in my deposit and all of my information, and yeah, so that's ready to go. I just have to call them when I go into labor and after baby arrives, and they will either, depending on, you know, what time of day it is, what day of the week it is, they'll either meet me at the birth center or they will come to our house and pick it up and do the whole, I guess they steam it and then dehydrate it and put it into little capsules. So I'm going to give that a try this time. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if any of you guys have tried it before, but leave a comment below and let me know how it has worked for you. So the last thing I was going to mention is, in preparation for birth, I really have not, you know, read the books like I did my first labor, or I really have not, you know, done all the research and reading and everything that I did when I was pregnant the first time. I just feel like, having gone through labor before, like, I know, you know, I learned which techniques really work for me, and I just feel like I know a little bit more what I'm doing this time. And I'm just so busy that I don't have time to just sit and read all the time like I did the first pregnancy. But the one thing that I have been doing to prep for labor is watching Ina May Gaskin. Now, if you guys have never heard of her, she is like the midwife of midwives. I think she's in her 70s now, but she has been a huge voice in advocating for natural birth and just the science behind natural birth and why it's so important, and how so much of medical birth in our culture really inhibits the natural process of labor a lot of the time. Not always, but a lot of the time it does, just with a lot of interventions that aren't necessary, and just kind of this concept, you know, that birth is like very fear-based in our culture, and fear actually can like physically cause a woman to you know, delay her labor. It's like fight or flight response. It's like if you are in flight response, it's like, and you're in labor, it's like everything's gonna stop, because, you know, it's like you have to run from the saber-toothed tiger or whatever, you know, and you're not gonna just drop a baby right there. So she really emphasizes the importance of being calm and relaxed and confident, and trusting that our bodies are built to birth the baby that it grew. And so I've been watching a lot of her lectures on YouTube. I'll link some of them down below. If you guys haven't seen Ina May and you are preparing for birth or you're interested in birth, highly, highly, highly recommend her. She is amazing, amazing woman. Anyway, but it was really nice to get a, you know, a mental refresher on this stuff, because I feel like, having had such a long labor the first time, my first labor was 35 hours, and difficult. I had a few complications arise. I have had some trepidation about labor this time, and I really feel like I am needing to just kind of let some of those things go and, you know, emotionally get over the hump with some of those things, so that those things don't inhibit my labor this time. And just listening to Ina May has really helped me with that. Just reminding me that, like, my body is designed to birth the baby that I am growing. And, you know, just knowing that in the history of her practice, like, she only has a 2 or 3% C-section rate. And she's been delivering babies for like 40 years. Like, she has seen it all and has dealt with complications, like all of that. Like, and that is really what it, you know, 2 or 3% is really only what it truly needs to be. And there are so many ways to deal with complications in a natural way. Anyway, phenomenal woman. The other thing that she talks about is the law of the sphincter. This is something she talks about in one of her books, but it is just like, this concept is just like such a revelation. It's like, she says that the sphincter is shy, and it's like any sphincter, right? Sorry, this is like TMI, but it's, the concept is so useful. But it's like, if you're in a public bathroom sometimes, it's like, and you have to pee, like sometimes if somebody's like in the stall right next to you or whatever, and it's really quiet, it's like, you can't pee, right? Because you get shy about it. Or it's like the same that like when you're traveling, oftentimes you get constipated when you're traveling because you're uncomfortable, you're tense, you're anxious, stressed, and that causes the sphincter to close up. And so it's the same thing with birth. If you're stressed, scared, that's going to cause that cervix to close up tight. And but when you are relaxed and comfortable and at ease, then things open up. Just this concept is just like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. And like how much of, you know, hospital birth is like putting so much pressure on women, like push, you know, like you're not progressing fast enough. And, you know, telling women like, oh, your baby is too big for your pelvis, like, which she said that she has never seen a problem with a woman's pelvis or size of baby. Like in her practice, almost all women can get any size baby out regardless. I mean, unless they're malnourished or something. Anyway, just some really important things to think about that have been really helping me feel mentally prepared for this birth. So anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about this week because as you can hear, Alex woke up from his nap. Can you say hi, guys? Can you say hi, guys? Yeah, you're drinking your milk. Anyway, that is all for this week, you guys. Let me show you my belly. Here is my 38-week belly. On the front. And the other side. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned. We'll see with all this prodromal labor that I've been having, who knows what'll happen. But I will try to keep you guys updated. We'll see whether we'll be back next week for a week 39 update or not. Maybe I'll have a baby, maybe not. We shall see. So anyway, if you guys like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so below, and we'll see you guys next week. Can you say bye-bye? Bye. Just got a little conk to the head. You say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you guys next week.